Thank you so much, Kat. We should make a semicircle.
You want to make a semicircle?
No.
Well, you're the one that has to move on that.
All right, here we go.
We were just, see, this is why this cruise is great, because we were just chatting backstage. I just found out, because I'm originally from Boston, and these guys were like, we lived in Boston. I was like, what?
Our first summer, we had our first rehearsal March of '88 in Baton Rouge. We played one show there, and then I was dating a girl going to Boston University, and I had already planned on spending the summer there, and I was like to my guys, you guys want to live in Boston for the summer?
I was 18 years old.
No, you were 17.
Yeah, 17. I
Oh
turned
my
18.
God.
And so we lived there, and so we cut our teeth on these classic Boston rock clubs like the Channel, T.T. the Bears, the Rathskeller, where and it was amazing. And the guy from Mission of Burma lived above us.
That was one of my favorite bands. Academy Fight Song, that's when I reached my revolver. I was like at the Mission of Burma show. That's crazy.
And you worked at FNX.
I did, yeah.
Amazing.
That's where I got my
FNX
start.
was just one of the seminal alternative rock stations in the late '80s for me. That's where I first heard James Addiction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't
I mean, that
remember.
was, I started an internship in 1990. So I was there when we booked Nirvana to play our birthday party at Axis on Lansdowne Street before Nevermind came out, before Smells Like Teen Spirit broke. Like it was breaking that week. We're like,
It's amazing.
we have Nirvana in a 700-person club tonight.
We did a FNX show at the Hat Show after.
That was a BCN show.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, but we
Sorry,
did do those.
We
competition.
did do an FNX. We did do an FNX.
We did
show.
do them. That's okay. I have lots of BCN.
It was a pretty cool show, actually.
It was Green Day. Green Day played with us.
Yeah.
But not that Green Day at the Hat Shell. You've heard about that, the riot.
Oh no, not that day.
Not that one.
Here's a real quick aside. I was living in LA in the early '90s, and a buddy of mine said, "Hey man, come see my band. We're playing at Raji's. It's this famous rock club on Hollywood Boulevard." And they were headlining, and I got there early, and I'm sitting there, the band before my friend's band played, and it's these three dudes, and they're wearing dresses, and I was like, these guys are fucking amazing. It was like, who is it? And I walked over to the merch, and they just released their first album. It was Green Day. It was the Kerplunk album, and I was like, these guys are good, but they sound too derivative like the Clash. It'll never happen. But I can't make that shit up. 2 years later, I went to go see a private show, and Dookie, had just come out with on Warner Records. Anyhow, back to Better Than Ezra.
You just never know. The thing is you just never know.
Never know.
And I really wish I could capture the moments when I first saw a band at a special moment and realize how special it was at the time. I just, there's plenty of people I'm sure that saw you guys were in a room and were like, can't believe we were at that show.
There are a lot of people here who saw early shows.
Yeah.
And we remember most of those shows, those bizarre little shows with 12 people at Cicero's in St. Louis or something like that.
We've played a lot of shows.
We were together we were together for 7 years before we got signed, and man, we are the classic, getting in a van, playing for $50 and a pizza band, sleeping on floor, halfway through the set, hey, let us know if we can crash on your floor tonight. And it was nuts, the stories are crazy.
I can only imagine. I really wish we could get all those people, all those floors you slept on and tell those stories.
The best was when we were at
Sorority house.
Well, there's a sorority house.
Do tell, Tom.
That was the KD house in Ole Miss. But one time we were at a house, and these guys said, "Yeah, come on, man, stay at my house." And we went over there, and his girlfriend and her girlfriend were there, and we were, late night, we were drinking. And then I noticed something on one of the girls' ankle. I was like, "Huh, I think that's a house arrest." And then I looked over, and the other girl had one too. They were both under house arrest. And I was like, I'm gonna sleep in the van.
You can't make this stuff up. I mean.
You hooked up with one of them though, didn't you,
Oh,
Tom?
no.
Oh.
Stop that.
I want to talk about the Grand Ole Opry because I was just in Nashville right before the crazy storm, and I saw you guys post about performing there for the first time. at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it's such a, whether you like country music or not, that's not the point. The thing is that is ground zero for legends. And so to be there and to be on that stage, I just can't, I'm getting chills thinking about you guys.
And playing with the band also, they played with us.
Right.
The house band was really cool.
It's really cool. You know, last year was the 100th anniversary of the Grand Ole Opry, so they really made an effort to have artists that they don't always have. And Better Than Ezra was one of those bands. And yeah, like you said, Kat, it's regardless of the genre of music, you know, the Grand Ole Opry is hallowed ground. There's the circle, and they took that wood from the Ryman. The Ryman Auditorium, the Ryman Theater, is the original Grand Ole Opry site. And what's really cool is all the people that work at the Grand Ole Opry, when it's your first show, they make it so special for you. And every night they have someone who is their first show. So when you drive up, they have these metal printed placards that said reserved for Better Than Ezra, Grand Ole Opry, like 5 spots.
How many pictures, video did you take of that?
And then they take you on a tour. They have flowers and stuff and champagne, and they take you on a tour of a Studio 4, the old Hee Haw set, where, you know, what's his name? Buck Owens.
Roy Clark.
And it's just an amazing thing. And what was really cool, you do 3 songs. Most people get 2, some people get 3 because of the way the set times were. We got 3 songs. So we were like, okay, let's do 2 Better Than Ezra songs and then cover. And if you saw our shows, we do a really great cover of Never Tear Us Apart. That's, and thank you. And we used this, a friend of ours got the original Juno 8 string sample that Andrew Ferris used to play. But when you play the Grand Ole Opry, you can't use any samples, any tracks.
Not allowed.
No, you have to be legit, right?
You gotta be fucking legit.
Yeah.
And you play with
But the
their-
band does, you know, whatever you need to facilitate, they help make it happen. It's cool.
Yeah, so you have this band that are the best Nashville studio cats. You know, they play with you. And I was talking to Ronnie, the keyboardist. Such a,
Are you besties now?
you know, yeah, he's a keyboardist, but I just love it. Of course, his name's Ronnie. That's such a Nashville country name. Do people name their kid Ronnie anymore?
Any Ronnies in the house?
There's some Ronnies here. I see. Okay.
Oh, you got one Ronnie on the crew over there. All right.
But I was like, hey, we're gonna do Never Tear Us Apart. He was like, Andrew Ferris and Excess played here about 15 years ago, and he gave me his string patch. We can use it. So that was really cool. And
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
We also had Dave Matthews, sax player, play the sax solo.
Yeah.
There's a link for this somewhere. You can download the link.
That's
for this.
incredible.
Yeah.
Coffin, the amazing Grammy-winning saxophone player, who is Dave Matthews, saxophone player, played with us the sax solo. So it was amazing.
That's the thing, it's the exceptional musicians that have passed through the walls of that place and the ones that still are there as your backup band. Like, that's crazy.
It was an incredible experience. It's just one of the, it's, you know, it's a bucket list item for us. It's just one of those things you always hope to be able to do.
Yeah, wild. I love it. Let's get back to you guys and let's kind of like go through a sketch of your journey. This will be painless, I promise. Wink, wink. All right. So I want to talk about you guys. Well, first of all, you put your first album out on cassette, which I love.
Yes. Our first recording was Surprise. We recorded that in '89 at Chime Street Studios in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it was a cassette, the Surprise cassette.
Even Deluxe was a cassette.
Yeah. Well, the demo, the first time we were playing it, and the thing is, back in the day, you know, people lament that the record industry is so different, and it is these days, you know. But with like everything that's good and bad, there's great things about a current situation, you know, and you also lose some things. The great thing about right now is that you can be a new artist and just have a laptop. It doesn't have to be a new laptop, and it can have GarageBand on it, or Logic, or Ableton, or Pro Tools, and you have the ability in that laptop to make professional sounding recording, you know. And if your song is good, you can upload that shit on TikTok and stuff, and you can immediately know if you got something. back in the day, when we were starting, you really didn't have that at your disposal, and you had to find a studio that had good equipment and an engineer who knew what they were doing, and getting those things was almost impossible.
You also had to know how to play. You couldn't just
Yeah.
press a button and be
You did.
like,
You did.
guitar,
Can't fix it.
drums.
Fix. You actually had to
you know.
do it. Yeah.
And
for real.
that first recording, Surprise, it's you can listen, you can go online and we put it out, and it's just the recording quality is not very good, but the songs are cool, and even if, like to Tom's point, Deluxe, the breakout record for us was recorded on half-inch analog 16-track tape, which is not even professional quality. And it's actually 15 tracks because the 16th track was SMPTE code. SMPTE is Society of Motion Picture, Television, and Engineers code, and that's how a tape machine kept track of the time code. So you really only had 15 tracks. So that Better Than Ezra album, that's almost sold 3 million copies, was recorded on 15 tracks, and it's crazy.
That's incredible. I always think, just hearing cassette, I just think of pencil, like a pencil.
Yeah, rewind it.
And then also Scotch tape, because to tape over, make mixtapes when you didn't have any money.
You would stuff paper or tissue in the hole. So that way you could record over shitty cassettes that you didn't like.
Recorded all the time over everything. So you had an interesting thing that happens to a few bands, but not a lot, which is you release your album Deluxe, but somewhere things shifted after that, and then you get signed to a major, and they basically re-released the album.
Yep. We always had the mindset that we were going to do it the way we wanted to do it. So, I mean, we weren't going to rely on a record label that we didn't really like. So it took a long time to get our first deal done. Because we were patient and we were willing to wait because we wanted the right deal.
But truth be told, no labels were, dying to snatch us up.
Until we played South by Southwest. When we played South by Southwest, they all came a-calling. But previous to that, we were doing what we needed to do. We had gone out and got the little UPC code, put it on the Deluxe CD, and when we would go travel regionally around the South, we would literally take a box of CDs before sound check to every music store in the town. And it was showing up. When they would sound scan, if you guys know what sound scan is, when you bought a CD, it would show up as a sale. That's how record companies track how their artists are doing. So suddenly this band that nobody's ever heard of is charting amongst all these major labels. And we're just doing this ourselves. I mean, we were business guys from the very beginning.
And before that, we moved. Better Than Ezra was originally a 4-piece band, and our friend Joel Rundle passed away in '91, and we kind of took a break. We were in Baton Rouge, and we took a break. We all just needed to reassess what we wanted to do, and I ended up out in Los Angeles after living in Colorado, being a ski bum for a year. It was the greatest. And I was working in.
Where were you living in LA?
I was living first on Sweetser.
Live right near there.
Yeah, I lived on Sweetser, and then I lived on Cherimoya, which is right next to Beechwood and Cherimoya.
All right, yeah, Canyon.
And I worked at Border Grill in Santa Monica. I was a bartender at Border
Really?
Grill.
I didn't see. That's the thing about LA. If you live near the Canyon, you don't go to Santa Monica. 'Cause it's too
But
far.
it was crazy. So we had Good. Good was written in 1990, and a lot of the songs that are on Deluxe we were already playing live, and we realized we were gonna keep playing, but suddenly we were a 3-piece, and Tom and our drummer at the time, Carrie, came out to LA, and we were all just. Tom was a valet. Carrie, I think Carrie had won a lawsuit.
I don't think he had.
He had gotten shot by a jealous ex-girlfriend.
This is true. It's true.
Where was
I
it shot?
can't make actually.
You cannot make it up.
It's
At the
even
booth.
deeper. It's even crazier. Carrie got shot in a bar in New Orleans by the jealous girlfriend of his ex-girlfriend. So Carrie supported Better Than Ezra when we lived in Boston.
Now
He
come back.
had won a lawsuit from the woman who shot him. And that's how we were supported. So when we got our deal from Alexa, we actually all paid Carrie back for all those years because he had a little moleskine he would write down and wrote. But I digress. So here's the happenstance.
Can't make this up.
I'm so glad you digressed.
So I was living in LA. The guys hadn't moved there, and we were back in LA when you were young and you were broke. You would accept these offers to go see a movie screening. You'd be at the Beverly Center, and they go, "Want to go see a movie?" And you're like, "Oh, I got nothing else to do." Yes. So I'm in line with my girlfriend to go see some movie. I can't recall it, and I'm talking about music, and this girl behind me goes, "Are you a musician?" "Oh yeah." And she said her name's Lisa, and she was a waitress at Kings Road. In West Hollywood, it's still there, best breakfast still. And she goes, "Well, my boyfriend is a guy named Dan Rothschild, and he is he's a producer. I should introduce you." Little did I know that Dan Rothschild was a bass player, this incredible bass player, and this budding little producer. And his dad he passed away, was Paul Rothschild, the producer of The Doors, Janis Joplin. So suddenly, I get a chill still thinking about it.
You are just in line.
I was just in line. So that's how we met the guy who produced Deluxe. And the machine that I ran was a 16-track machine. He was in the backing band in Oliver Stone's Doors movie. And rather than getting paid to do it, the band, the film production company gave them the 16-track Ramza recording board, or tape machine. So that's how he had a tape machine to record Better Than Ezra. And we recorded that. And by the way, before I forget, Dan Rothschild was the first bass player in Tonic. So that first Tonic album, that's Dan Rothschild on bass. Of course, the other Dan is,
We love Dan.
we love both Dans. So that's how, and we recorded that deluxe record that we didn't change in a second floor apartment on West Flores in West Hollywood for $15 an hour. That's how much he charged us. And we put a 4x12 Marshall cabinet in our 83 Dodge Ram van out on the street, ran cables because the neighbors wouldn't have allowed us to do that. And that's how we, just on weekends, that's how we made the deluxe record. And that record is a testament to the great songs, but also to Dan's prowess, and he's a brilliantly talented guy.
I love this story so much, the turns it takes in the career. All the things that had to line up for you guys to get here is just really unfolding in so many bizarre ways. It's really a lot of chance sometimes, in location and time. And
We made that album for, I think, all in, for the art and the first 1,000 copies. We made it for $5,000.
oh my God.
And the art you see on the front cover, Tom and I went to East Los Angeles to the Garment District.
Yep.
And we found velvet, and we found all those little trinkets. And in the front yard of our apartment on Beechwood, 1836 North Beechwood Drive, we used that beautiful sunlight that everybody from Charlie Chaplin to Better Than Ezra, that LA sunlight, to shoot the natural light, to shoot the cover of that album. And all that artwork we did ourselves, and Tom did it, and Electric Pencil was the graphic design company.
I love that you were so DIY and you did all of that.
We did everything.
Really,
But-
and you were smart about it. I have friends who were in bands who did not get the UPC code.
Oh yeah.
And they would sell like thousands of CDs, and I'm like, what are you doing? No one's tracking you.
Yeah. I mean, we actually sold about, I think, 6,000 or 7,000 copies of Surprise before this.
That was the first cassette.
Yeah, the first cassette. So, but it was just cassette, and we didn't have the UPC code.
That's
We had
still
nothing
amazing.
to really show for it. We knew it,
Yeah.
and everybody who had it knew it, but nobody else did.
But that's a great point, Tom. When we were living in LA, we auditioned for different labels, and we played good, and the songs.
Those are so awkward. Are you in a
Oh, they were
conference
terrible,
room?
and they legs crossing, like never got anything, and. If you'll know if you have our first label, it was us. It's called Swell Records, and if you have a deluxe, it's a Swell Records one. You'll know because porcelain is misspelled on the back. It's porcelain. Easy.
I'm a terrible speller. That's the problem.
I think that's how you
missed
should
it.
sing it.
But I will say, our career from that point, to being on the stage with you is a shining example of never quitting, because we were passed over so many times, you know, and we didn't get signed, and we just didn't quit. And that is, it sounds such a cliche, but the where the rubber hits the road is the people who make it in this business, in any business. You just don't quit, you know. And if the given is you've got some talent, don't quit. You'll just keep going. You just keep going, and you'll get that foot in the door.
Yeah, that's my theory is there's no plan B. You know, when your parents are like, all right, well, you can try this, but there's a plan B, and some people do think about that. I never had plan B. You never had a plan B. And so I think that's a common thread when you're trying to pursue something that's not normal.
I had a plan B, but it got thrown out the window.
What was the plan B?
I was supposed to be an astronaut.
Tom, I don't think that was going to happen. Rockstar
I had a
first.
NASA scholarship out of high school, and
Wait, what? Tell us more. What?
I'd been in a band in high school, and actually it was a pretty successful band to be a high school band. We were playing
What was the name?
Critical Mass.
Wait, he was also in a band called Bad Cabbage.
Yes, I was.
That sounds like a band that Greg Brady would have been in.
Very young, first band. But anyway, we'd been playing gigs. You know, we would do our gigs and go to school the next day. You know, we'd be out downtown in a place called Humphreys at the time in Shreveport.
Just fast forward to NASA.
So I garnered this scholarship in high school, but you know, I'd been in this band in high school, and I was really, when I got to LSU, I had a full ride at LSU. So they had a mechanical engineering program. They didn't have aerospace, but they had mechanical engineering, which has been the next closest thing to get to that point. I was missing being in a band, and Kevin and Carrie put an ad in the school newspaper, the Daily Reveille, looking for a bass player, and I answered it.
And one person showed up. And little skinny Tom and Drummond.
17 years old.
But Tom is Tom, you know, we've all had, you know.
One
thing.
thing. I knew on the very first practice it was something special. No, I'm serious, because I'd been in a successful band, you know, for a relatively young person in high school. We had a successful band. I knew instantly when we had a rehearsal that this was different.
Despite the fact the first thing we ever tried to play together was Wall of Voodoo Mexican Radio. And it
Tell me
sucked.
you didn't try to do the voice,
Never-
the
never-
Ridgeway voice. Tell me you didn't.
Never performed it live.
Okay, good. You know how there's that weird like nasal thing where you're trying to pull that off? The nasal delivery.
And the whole band on my shoulder. I used to sing, you can actually do, I got a cold wind on my shoulder. You can do that. Yeah, so Deluxe, you know, so we made that, can I go back to that?
You can totally go back.
So, in the fall of '93, we had this CD that we had made on Swell Records, and we had met this crazy first manager. He had been the tour accountant for The Who, and he may or may not have had a drinking problem. But he said to go back to where you guys are from and start touring, and we're not going to get any love living in LA. Let's go back to where you're from. Let's get in the van. Let's start playing shows, and that's what we got to where Tom mentioned, where we started. We went back to playing that SEC college circuit that everybody from Isaac Hayes to Sam Cooke to REM, the Connells, Driving Crank, all played, and we went back out there. We put our CD in every store in the Southeast, started playing frat shows, college bar shows, and that's when we started getting, you know, salespeople from the label started, you know, calling up, hey, there's some band, you know, at the Sam Goody that's selling a shit ton of records. And that's when, after, you know, 7 years in March of '94, we played South by Southwest, the big A&R thing in Austin, Texas. And that was the first time, suddenly, after being ignored for 6 years, we were the band to see.
How was your South by experience then? Because if you've never been, South by is like boot camp for bands. You're gonna have a sound person that is is doing 200 shows in a day. The stage might not be level.
Yeah.
Like the lights might be frying your retinas. Like there's all these things that could happen.
So we knew that our goal was to get to South by Southwest and to have a showcase that would be memorable for people. So we started playing Austin at this specific venue. Steamboat. So we started building up our own following in Austin, knowing that eventually we're going to do this showcase at Steamboat. It was that's our manager's idea at the time. Yeah.
You are so smart. You should have been an astronaut.
He's gone to outer space with you. So have. Maybe last night he went to at least the troposphere.
No, that really is, you like became resident so you could build up a following to get a gig at South by. That's how important South by Southwest was.
Danny Crooks.
Danny Crooks is
No
the
longer
owner
with
of the
us.
club, yeah, at the time. And you know, Southwest is no longer really the band prevailing thing now. It's more video games and movies and stuff. But at the time, it was the thing. It was CMJ in New York, and it was South by Southwest, and then there's one in Seattle, North by Northwest, I think is the name.
We did CMJ Fest. It was us, Mother Hips. Remember Mother Hips? And Girl Scout Heroin.
I vaguely remember Girl
That was
Scout
the bill
Heroin.
at the Mercury Lounge.
Okay.
You know, man, we played, but going back to South by Southwest, you know, it was that night. It was at Steamboat. Steamboat was also where we were doing a sound check 2 years prior, when I'll never forget it because everybody remembers a few things in your life. One of them for me is when OJ was in the White Bronco.
Oh yeah.
You know, and we were sound checking at Steamboat in Austin. You know, when OJ.
Guessing there was a TV in the bar.
Oh yeah.
It was, yeah. It was so bizarre. You know, 9/11, those different things that are pivotal. But so we played March '94, and that began the bidding war for Better Than Ezra. You know.
Lucky us.
Yeah.
I want to go to, let's just go directly to that bass line that gets every guy's like upper teeth over his bottom lip line. I'm talking about good.
It's funny, because Kevin moved to LA before Carrie and I did. We moved out a few months later. He actually recorded a demo with Dan with another bass line on it. And I heard it, I was like, nah, let me give this a shot. And it's a simple part, right? It's only 4 notes. But
That's simple for you. For us, it's memorable. It is one of those most identifiable bass lines.
yeah, I don't, it's just, I guess it's just me.
It's just like, honestly, you could cue that bass line up, everyone in this room would just be like, yeah, like,
You
relax.
Know, you know when you hear it, and credit, Tom's a great bass player and great bass parts. That first album, you can tell that we grew up listening to Rush.
Yeah.
You know, there is a big prog rock thread and that runs through Better Than Ezra. You might not know it.
Wait till next year.
But
Did you ever meet Rush?
oh, you don't? Do you know that story?
No.
This is great.
I don't want to derail this.
Drill.
Okay. So, 1982, Rush is the biggest band in the world. Moving Pictures is the biggest album in the world. I live in Monroe, Louisiana. I'm a massive Rush fan. Joel Rundle, our original guitarist, and I were living in Monroe, Louisiana, and Rush did a tertiary market tour, and they were coming to Monroe, Louisiana. Joel's sister knew that Rush was staying at the Holiday Inn Holidome. That's where they were going to spend the night. So we got there at 7 a.m. in the video arcade, and we staked out Holiday Inn. Nobody showed up. You know, we were looking, in the lobby and stuff. Around 11:30 a.m., we see Geddy and Alex from Rush walk past. I was like, "Quit playing Robotron." He's like, "But I'm fucking killing." I was like, "Quit playing Robotron." We ran out through the breezeway, and Geddy and Alex, of the biggest band in the world, Rush, are standing there waiting for a car in 1982 to come pick them up in Monroe, Louisiana. No car services existed. So we're sitting there talking to them, and they were kind, but I was 15 years old. I had you got your driver's license at 15 in Monroe back in the 80s. and which is terrifying.
The worst idea ever.
And so we were talking to him, and at some point, 30 minutes into the conversation, because the car didn't pick him up, I was like, well, we can take you, we can take you riding around, and they just ignored us. 45 minutes later, Geddy Lee looked at me and says, so where's your car? So, I was like, this way. So, I had a 1978 green Honda Civic hatchback called the Green Barchetta. And Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson got in the back. I had to lift my front seat up, and they got in the back of my car in July with no air conditioning. And we took them to a health food store. We took them someplace else, like a drugstore, and we took them to H. Michael Sports on Forsyth Avenue so they could get new tennis rackets. And they bought the tennis rackets, but they weren't strung. So Alex looked at me and said, hey, if you can go pick up these rackets once they're strung, bring them to sound check, and I'll get you backstage passes.
This is the greatest story ever.
Okay, so y'all, it gets better. I'm sorry, Tom, but it's great.
Yeah, this is a great story.
So we pick up the rackets, we go to sound check. We bring in the rackets. Alex brings me up on stage. He teaches me Spirit of Radio, how to play Spirit of Radio. I get chills. So we never met Neil, but we were there for the show. We were featured in the newspaper the next day. Local kids meet their idols. So there's still a paper, you can find it on Microfiche. Okay, so fast forward to 2024. My wife works for Gibson Guitars now. She's the head of artist relations and stuff. And she said to me one day, she goes, she'd only been working there like a year. She goes, do you know who Alex Lifeson is? I was like, he's the guitarist for Rush. She goes, he was just emailing me. And I was like, what? So he did a signature guitar, minis with Gibson. Long story short, so he was going to be at the Gibson Garage in Nashville, and because they did this whole dinner with him, and he did this big charity thing with Gibson. So she goes, you want to come to this event and you can say hi to Alex? So I'd already told the story to the current CEO of Gibson, Cesar Guakian. And so we're in the green room, and Cesar, the CEO of Gibson, goes, you got to go over to Alex and tell him the story. And I was like, okay, so I go over to Alex Lifeson. He's a sweetheart. I tell him the story. He goes, I fucking remember that. It was crazy. So I tell him the story, we take a photo. 30 minutes later, the event ends, and my wife says, hey, the car service for Alex has not shown up. Can you drive Alex Lifeson to his hotel? I can't make, and I was like, oh fuck yes, I can. So 40 years plus a few months later, I'm back. I'm a 15-year-old all over again.
That is the great thing about music. That is the greatest story.
And I drove into his, and I was a 15-year-old all over, just giddy, just silly, taking my idol.
That's the thing about music, though. It takes you to a certain place. Your music takes us to a certain place, and that's why when I bring up Good, because I remember when that song came out, and it was like, you heard it, and everybody's like heads, like no matter where you went, it was like a head bob, right? And it was that, and it just really, like the college kids caught onto it really fast.
Yeah, when
I remember in
we
Boston.
first started playing the song in like our live set, everybody was like, what's that song?
Yeah.
Because it was just like instantly everybody was attracted to it. So it was like, okay, we're doing something right. Yeah.
I played it for the guys, and the next day we had a show in Jackson, Mississippi at a double wide trailer bar called WC Don's. And the people that worked there were in the sober living halfway house, and so it was a freaky vibe. But
Super freaky.
I had not finished the lyrics to the song. Wah was supposed to be lyrics, and we performed it, and everybody came up to us afterward were like, and this is Jackson, Mississippi, like, hey man, what's that wah song? And I was like, I did not know that 40 plus years later, we would still be singing wah.
You learned a lesson that day.
But a lot of our Better Than Ezra's biggest songs and the songs I've written for other people always have some kind of I mean, so if you can come up with some catchy non-lyric as a hook, then you're cooking with gas.
So this song is so strong. Like now your things are changing for you guys, like big time, right? Because it's catching fire. That song.
Took 7 years to get signed.
Yes.
7 weeks.
Overnight success.
To have a #1 song.
Right. Yeah.
For the public, it probably did feel like an overnight success, but for us, I mean, we had
No, that's the
slugged
joke.
out.
It takes like 7 years for the overnight success.
Yeah. That's how it went, and it happened so fast because at the time, MTV was such a huge influence on the music world. We're out doing shows. We started playing like 5. We're still in a van. We're vanning the trailer. We're doing like 5 shows a week where we're playing a show, driving overnight, going to radio. Meanwhile, MTV is jamming the shit out of Good. We don't even get to see it because we're working so much. And we got our friends calling us on the road. I just saw your video. It was a really exciting time. It was like,
Remember Chris Applebaum? He's the director, and he did Ween videos and Green Day, and we made that in this abandoned mansion in the French Quarter of New Orleans. But I gotta say, real quick, shout out, Matt Pinfield's here. You guys have all seen him. Matt worked with Leslie Fran.
Yeah.
New York, and Leslie, we had to, 99X in Atlanta. Good was #1 before we got signed to Elektra Records.
isn't that crazy?
That's the great thing about the people, Matt and Leslie before, like Matt ended up exploding on MTV and stuff, is there's all these great people behind the scenes trying to make something happen that really love music, and Leslie's amazing. I actually talked to her a few
Still
months
such
ago.
a champion
Right.
of
And the fact that you could do that on such a local level, and then that helps you go to the next level, and that's what happened, which is so amazing in this 7-night year overnight success.
Yeah.
Tom is doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's just an insane bass player. So give it up for Tom Drummond. But there have been in a lot of different magazines and stuff, like the top 5 iconic bass parts of the '90s, and Good is always there.
That's why I can't make enough of a point about it. I know you guys know you're in the band and you're the one who played the bass. But for us, it is such a good feeling, like no matter what mood I'm in, you just hear that and you're like, oh, all right, everything's gonna be cool.
That's awesome.
We're
Thank you.
fine.
What I love about Good is that I have so many people come up to me and say, hey man, we're in a cover band and we do Good. Or a kid comes up to me and says, hey, we just learned our first song as a band and it's good. And if you can write that song that's so easy to play, but it's iconic and you can sound good, quick, Good is one of those songs, and I think I put that in a Creedence Clearwater Revival song. Those easy songs that are very recognizable. Good is interesting because in the 90s, if you wanted a song to be alternative, you had to throw in a 7th chord. And the Good chords are G major, D major, E minor, C7th. And C7th gave it the evil. And I think I stole that from
It's the touch.
I think I stole that from Mark Lanigan and Screaming Trees. There's a C7 in I Nearly Lost You.
One of the greatest songs ever.
Oh,
And one of the greatest
or
voices.
maybe it was the Pixies. But the Pixies and REM are the DNA of Better Than
I mean, certainly if you go listen to Doolittle, you'll hear some similarities to Deluxe. Just kind of the how you built the song, where the guitars are raging in the chorus, and then they break it down
Loud, quiet, loud.
to the.
That was the name of their documentary.
To the verse.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you're obviously your time in
Pixies.
Boston, you absorbed some of the Pixies because
100%.
our
Yeah.
claim to fame is that insanely great band. Let's jump ahead a little bit. We have a mutual friend in Brad Wood. Brad Wood has produced and worked with like so many greats. Just find his wiki, and I hit him up and I'm like, dude, I'm talking to your pals in Better Than Ezra. Like, give me something. And he said, recording the album Closer, which was the 5th studio album, he said, it's the best time I've ever had making a record, hands down.
Wow.
Out of all the people he's worked with.
That's awesome.
You guys.
You guys. Well, Brad Wood, was started as a musician. He was in a band called Shrimp Boat. Tell him I said. But he really got his name as a producer with Liz Fair, Exile in Guyville. That's
That
what
record
Big time
changed
record.
my life and a lot of lives.
That's what put him on the map. And
Yeah.
then he did Adore for Smashing Pumpkins and
Veruca Salt, like he's
Pete
worked with
York.
everybody.
Pete York.
Yeah, Music from the Morning After is
Yep.
one of the best albums.
But we recorded our Closer album in our studio in New Orleans. Fudge that was in the garden. It's in the garden. We sold it to Trombone Shorty, so we still get to go there. Still,
He still has it now.
Sweet.
And we mixed that album at this famous studio called Conway Studio in LA. That's at the corner of Melrose and St. Andrews. The corner that Jane's Addiction sang of in Jane Says. And that studio,
Really cool place.
Yeah.
that studio's had everybody from The Doors to Billy Idol to Fleetwood Mac to today. I mean, Harry Styles just recorded his new album there. It's these manicured gardens behind this huge wall. You go back behind these gates, and suddenly it's Bougainvillea and Birds of Paradise, and there's these 3 studios. And during that time, we were there with Brad. Justin Timberlake was making his first solo album. Better Than Ezra was in the B studio, and Meatloaf was in it. But you guys, this is great because we partied.
They encouraged us to have parties.
We
at the studio.
partied so hard when we were there because we were just mixing. So we would go out to Viper Room and to these different clubs. We're like, come back to the studio with us. And we had the craziest nights. And here's a great story. Years later, it was like 2016, the band Rooney is recording there. And the guy, Graham Colton, who worked with Rooney, called me up and he said, hey man, Buddy, who is the owner of this studio, on Sundays when you're recording there, he does a barbecue for you. And he was regaling this Rooney with stories of debauchery of old. And he told them, he goes, yeah, we had Fleetwood Mac, they were partying, Billy Idol, of course. But I gotta tell you, the band that partied and raised the most hell of any band was Better Than Ezra.
That's what Brad said. He's like, I kind of remember, but I know I had a really good time.
Oh my God, it was crazy. We had so much fun and just charmed nights. And we love Brad. Oh, he's so great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I love him. Unfortunately, that album had a weird thing where the record label fell apart.
Yeah, it was 9/11.
That's the story of later albums of Better Than Ezra. That we released a record and the label goes bankrupt.
Oh, you have this weird thing of this up and down going, and you keep pushing through.
Again, were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say that Closer is 25 years old this year, and we are putting on a special edition vinyl. This is just making this announcement today.
Since we're in the tree
Super
press,
cool.
we haven't released it yet, but we're gonna do this fall. We're gonna do a Closer tour. We're gonna play that album start to finish in tandem with a vinyl release of Closer. But to your point, we released 3 records on Elektra, and then got dropped. And the next week, that Elektra signed Third Eye Blind. Coincidence? I don't know. But then you bounce around from label to label, and there were so many things that happened with Better Than Ezra that I think a lot of bands would have quit. But we loved playing with each other so much, we just never stopped. and we never quit.
Well, I think
You
the
know,
friendship is a thing too.
It is.
It really is.
No doubt.
We've all known some of our favorite bands are not friends.
Yeah, I think most bands that do quit, it's because the members just can't get along for whatever reason.
And I think, you know, we were fortunate, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Like we said, it took us so long to get signed, but what it did, those 7 years of getting together for the first time and getting signed, is we learned how to put on a great show. We really learned how to entertain, because you had to. When you were playing a fucking fraternity, you played for 4 hours, and you had to play, you know, so many covers.
What, 4 hours?
Oh yeah.
Why would you play 4 hours for a
We
bunch
would
of
play The
people?
Joker by Steve Miller 3 or 4 times. but
And we were a 3-piece also at the time.
Yeah.
So we really had to learn how to cover all the space as a 3-piece. So, you know, back to Rush.
yeah.
So you can't take the night off. You know, you
It's-
got to bring it.
We got really good at entertaining people and putting on a show, and through all the ups and downs, our fans have kept this band going. You guys have kept us going, because and a lot of people in the industry say, you know what, they look at the numbers at Polestar and the tickets we sell. We do a lot better ticket-wise than a lot of bands that have a lot bigger recording careers than us, but somehow we're able to headline places other bands can't. And it's because our fans keep coming to see us, and they know that it's going to be fun, and we're going to be entertained and have a ball, and the set list is going to be more a suggestion than than being followed, and we love that.
One of the things we wrote into our first deal with Electro was we needed a laptop computer. It's for real.
Good thing.
And
You're smart. You keep doing
and-
the smart things.
if Kevin was driving the van to the next show, I'm in the back, and we had an AOL account. I'm in the back answering all the fan emails, taking song. We used to do a song request at every show, and people would send in their, and we would do the song. And
Was it better than Ezra at AOL?
You know who?
remember,
There's 2 artists who are here on this boat who still have their AOL email.
Is it
Edwin
better?
McCain
Oh,
and Mark McGrath.
there you go.
And I fuck with them mercilessly. Like, really, guy? Come on.
But back to it, I think that the fans genuinely loved that they were hearing from somebody in the band and who was
100%.
actually corresponding, and that they could see, you know, we would play a song that night that was the most requested or whatever, you know. It's like that foundation carried us a long way. It's still carrying us, I think.
I mean, we did, you know, our roots were, no one's going to do it for us. And, you know, and I still have all the postcards that we would send out, you know, every couple of months. Like, here's where we're playing, you know, our mailing list. And we did all of it.
so much work that's not
It is.
creative. You know, it's
That's what it took, though.
It's
you
a
know?
lot of work, but I love that you did that, because I think all of us who love music never expect our heroes to write us back, or
Yeah,
you know,
it's different now, too,
You
'cause,
made that happen.
You know, the advent of digital distribution is really where everything changed. I know we're kind of getting a little bit ahead here, but Spotify and Napster, all that stuff, when that happened, how you go about the music business completely changed.
Yeah.
Because before we were worried that the record store doesn't have our, even when we were on Elektra, we were worried we'd get to a town, it's sold out. They don't have copies of your album in the store, you know? So what are you supposed to do?
Because your record label's supposed to order enough to cover.
And they, you know, it's too big a machine. They just can't keep up with
It's really stressful.
every act on their, you know, on the label. I know we're getting a little bit ahead here, but that single thing is really probably the thing, to me, is what changed the music industry the most in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
TV,
Mhm.
then digital distribution.
For sure.
Are the 2 things.
It's interesting, you know, at first we were like, okay, we got to get a record deal, and we gotta sell, and suddenly you get a platinum album, you get a gold, and then you're not a new band, and you get dropped, and then Spotify comes along, and you don't make money with your albums unless you're like a Coldplay or Green Day or something like that. Most of us, you know, are supported. You know, it's come full circle for us. You know, we make our bread and butter from being on the road, playing music. You know, and we still get syncs. You know, syncs meaning our songs get used in different things. And like the Winter Olympics coming up, we have a song. That,
Do you really?
What? Called "Live a Little."
Is it going to be a specific sport?
It's used in all the bumpers.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, you know, let's go to that because I'm trying to check the time here. Let's go to that because you did have a big sync with Desperate Housewives, which was kind of this bump that happened.
Juicy.
You remember that? Juicy?
Juice was used in the.
And there were a lot of people who didn't know really about your band until that sync happened.
It's crazy. That was in 2006 or 7 that happened. You know, it's funny because there's fans now at our shows that I can tell we play the old songs and everybody knows good, but they don't react. It's the newer songs off the newer albums that people react to, and it'll be because of a synchronization where they literally sync your music up to moving images. You know, so those are real big for us. Now there's so much content on Netflix and Apple TV that they need music and stuff. So we get new songs and stuff put in. But yeah, you know, it's weird all the different ways. How do we elevate ourselves? You know, like. Tom was like, we need to do a cover of Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting and pitch it to ESPN for Saturday Night Football. So last year, a year and a half ago, we recorded Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and we called up our friends at ESPN and said, hey, we've done this last fall. The whole football season was better than Ezra's Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. So it's constantly like figuring out how do we continue to stay relevant and be in people's ears and reinvent ourselves and just stay in the game and it's you gotta just be clever and hustle.
But you have to be open to it too. Like you guys, like I know you did role models selling when the wine runs out, which I loved, and that to me just says like you are being smart about it and you are accepting. You know, there's a lot of curmudgeons that have been around for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't want to know anything.
Oh, we love what we do.
That comes.
If that's
Have
not
you guys
apparent.
heard our cover of Sally when the wine runs out? Role Model's a great young artist. I love that song, and I was like, it needs a 90s version. So we sped it up and added some distorted guitars, and he reached out and was like, dude, I love this.
You guys should play Sally someday. Come on.
We'll work on that.
We got to start doing that. Well, you know what? We're going to be playing Bottle Rock. And
I know you are.
Excited about that.
So we'll play Sally. You know, it's crazy that Better Than Ezra is on these, you know, Bottle Rock, Bourbon and Beyond, Ocean's Calling, all these cool festivals.
It's not crazy though. You've built, for years you've been playing to us. You've been making us have a good time. You have a good time. It makes total sense. And we're just,
I mean, we really do.
I'm truly thankful there are bands that are still together, that I grew up with, that I love, that are still together playing all this time.
Thank you.
I mean, you all feel the same, that's why we're here.
I gotta say, I'm very flattered because I've always been a big fan of yours. You know, so to have you say that, it means a lot. Thank you.
Picked me up there.
It's
Oh my God, you know, I was coming on this boat and I'm like,
It's the last day.
are you a Doc? Are you an Isaac? Are you a Captain Steubing? Who are you?
I'm Isaac. I love me some Isaac.
I think I visited Isaac too many times last night because my eyes are burning.
You guys, we try to get, every time we do one of these boats, you know, and we haven't done it in a while, we always do our first show dressed out head to toe in captain's uniforms. The only thing we ask the crew, and we try to get the captain's uniforms, we come out to Come Sail Away. The Sticks.
I missed that.
And it didn't happen this year, but next time.
All right, good to know. Next time. You guys, I could nitpick all the years, but you told us so many great stories today. I'm not going to forget that Rush story for the rest of my life. Ever. Thank you so much for just making us have a good time all these years.
Thank you guys.
We love you guys.
We'll see you at Bottle Rock. I'll be drinking a Pinot Rouge by the stage. Thank you, everyone. Better Than Ezra.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Cat Corbett.
Have a
Pleasure
great
seeing all
time
you
on the
guys.
cruise. Last day, everybody. Let's do it up big, I guess, right?
Right.